literally has every single option. Dare I say it? It has absolutely every single option you can imagine. That's right, absolutely every single one. Hey everybody, John here with Competition Accessories, out for another weekly ride. This week we have a 2017 Indian Chieftain in matte white with all kinds of black accents on it. This thing is an absolute beast. I've got to ride it around for last evening and a little bit this morning, checking everything out on it. This has got the ride command. I'll take it back to the shop and we'll look at that a little bit more in depth, but really this is the fully dressed with a few accessories Chieftain. The thing is absolutely sick. Freedom exhaust. It's got the fancy air cleaner on it. Sounds pretty good. So we're gonna go for a ride. Thank you everybody over at CC Power Sports for hooking us up with these awesome bikes. But we're gonna hop out on the road, do a little city driving, drive past our little festival we have in town today. Hopefully we'll get down there quickly and traffic's not going to be too bad, but they've got kind of a little street fair thing going on, so we're just going to buzz this thing around the city. Even though this is a nice open road bike, as you can see, it's nice and light and nimble. Even though this thing is a big old giant hoss, it's still no problem to work around on the city streets. So we'll just head down the road here and see what it's got for us. Man, this thing sounds so daggone good. The Freedom exhaust they have on this thing, I had my choice of a few bikes that I could take out for the day, and if you've watched any of the other videos, if I get to pick, I'm picking something loud. I would always rather have something that is far from stock, different, anything aside from the norm. And the flat white on this one, it's a little bit of a contrast to the normal flat black, but I really like it. And this bike literally has every single option. Dare I say it? It has absolutely every single option you can imagine. That's right, absolutely every single one. So let's go through the list here. Number one on the list of accessories that I found really cool on the 2016 model that you might not see on some of the other models is the dashboard little glove box. It's not really a glove box, but it does function as a gigantic phone box. And right down inside of here, there's actually a USB cable. I don't know if you can see it down in there, but I have one of those big, ridiculous Samsung Note phones. They're 5 times bigger than you could possibly ever need a phone to be. And even inside the big giant OtterBox, dummy drops it on the ground case that I have, it still fits inside of there, and you can plug it into that USB port and charge the thing while you're riding. It also has all this fancy touchscreen stuff here. You've got buttons upon buttons upon buttons on this bike. You can toggle through everything on this side. I don't know if you can see everything on the ride command. A lot of times the GoPro doesn't pick up those contrasts quite the way it should, so you might not always be able to see everything that you need to, but whenever you cycle through those, you can actually hit buttons here, which will cycle through everything. You can hit a toggle button over here on the handlebars, or you can use your glove. Now, if you notice, I do have touchscreen gloves, but they're only touchscreen on this side here. On this side, just a standard leather glove. This touchscreen works so well, you can actually use just like a regular welder's glove, leather about a half an inch thick, if you will, and it still operates at just the same thumb, whatever, flip back and forth in between there. And it's got one of these fancy things that tells you where to go. I didn't bring my wife with me on this motorcycle ride today, so I have absolutely no idea where to go. So it's always nice to have something else aiding me, telling me where I've taken a wrong turn, not only on the road but also in life. So this GPS on this one, it differs a little bit than what you might find from some of the competitors. The Harley Davidsons also have GPS, and it's really cool, and I think it's touchscreen as well. I haven't played with a whole lot of those, but this one, it's got a zoom feature on it. So if you want to zoom in, it's just like all your smartphones, only instead of having that sensitive touchscreen on this one, you can actually operate it with your fingers there. So it's nice that you're actually able to function everything, even when you're wearing your big winter gloves that don't have touch screen on them. It's not going to be an issue. And it looks like they might be resealing some stuff on this road, and I'm riding on a white motorcycle, so life's about to get real tricky. I'm gonna have to change lanes in this intersection. Sorry folks, this is not a legal maneuver, but there's no way in hell I'm gonna drive a white motorcycle across fresh tar. Please don't splatter up on my bike. Things to watch out for on the road. How about things that will get you fired? That's right. Why is somebody going to put nice fresh tar on this road when we have a festival in town and people coming to visit? Come on. It's too early for this garbage. Oh, other things you'll find on this motorcycle. ABS, stock on all your Indian models. Everything. I actually got to take a look at all the 2016 Indian models yesterday. I had one of my boys over at CC Power Sports basically give me the entire rundown. You know, what you get in the lineup as you go on up through the series there. Now, on your Chieftains, this one, it's basically a slightly stripped down Roadmaster. It doesn't have the big hard box on the back. No speakers in the back. It doesn't have the on-the-fly adjustable suspension and all that good stuff, but you've got fog lights right here. You've got electronic doodads all over the place. You've got the ride command. That's going to show you basically everything you could possibly ever want to know about the bike. All of that is also completely programmable. There is also a radio on this beast, and if you hit your tunage button there, you can select whether you want Bluetooth, the AM, FM radio. You can hook it up to satellite and all that good stuff. But right now we don't have the Bluetooth connected, so you can actually just cycle through here. You want the weather? Oh goodness. Looks like that one's a little bit too loud. None of this stuff's programmed yet, but you can just cycle straight back through there. Bluetooth, hook up to your USB if you don't have Bluetooth on your phone, FM radio, listen to your tunage there, or you can cycle through everything on the handlebar control over there. Now, I've got short fingers, so some of that stuff is kind of hard for me to reach, but I will tell you that it can be done, especially when you're not actuating the clutch. A lot of times, since I'm not used to this bike, I'll be doing those adjustments whenever I'm at a stop, so I struggle to reach over while still maintaining proper pressure on that clutch lever. I guess I could throw it in neutral, but you know, I'm lazy. So I usually just wait until I'm going, and then it doesn't become too difficult. One of the other things that I did not really care for on this model specifically is the fact that, or actually any of the big bikes, I love the Indians as a whole, and as far as tour bikes go, there's nothing else in my opinion. I love the Harleys. You know, I've ridiculed a few of them, but I've ridden quite a few, and they if I were going to purchase one, I would purchase the Harley. But that being said, the Indian is so much better. It comes with everything you could possibly need, and these bikes are buttery smooth. This bike only has 175 miles on it. When I picked it up, it had probably about 70 miles or so. So I put about 100 miles on it. Took it out to a bike night last night. Between the ride command and the flat white paint, it definitely got a lot of attention. The Freedom exhaust didn't hurt, because when I pulled in, I gave it one of the, you know, the little rev ups there, and people really tend to gravitate towards loud bikes, especially if they're a new model. And there were several Indians there, but this was a vintage bike night, and even though most of these were vintage Japanese guys, a lot of folks still liked and appreciated a lot of the technology that's been baked into these big giant Indians to make them an extremely smooth bike, but also a bike that just rolls down the road no problem whatsoever, nice and smooth, and gives you a nice comfortable ride. You still get that big V-twin noise, but you don't get all the hassles and headaches. I'm not, you know, my arms are not shaking to pieces while I'm sitting at the stoplight. It's still easy to drive through traffic. The clutch is just so smooth, and power delivery, it's actually softened a bit because it's all fly-by-wire. Instead of having throttle cables and, you know, ripping back on this throttle, making everything extremely, you know, jerky and touchy, everything's softened by the electronics. Now, if you ever had a problem with it, hopefully, you know, your beast is still under warranty, because it's probably going to be a while before people, you know, learn lots and lots of stuff about the shade tree actuation or shade tree mechanic versions for all of your electronic throttle limiters and electronic throttle assemblies and all that good stuff. So we're actually coming into where our Harvest Homecoming is going on. This is where you can find arts, crafts, and also the best chicken and dumplings I've ever had in my entire life. I'm not going to go over to the street where everything's going on, but as you can see, looks kind of like The Walking Dead around here. We got people just roaming the streets, wandering all over the place. Lots of booths set up, and there's some old ladies that work at a church or work with a church, and they've got a bread booth down here. They have some of the best zucchini bread I've ever had in my entire life. But it's kind of our little town's claim to fame. I don't know how long it's been going on, but I know it's been a long time. And if you need a snack and you're in New Albany area around this time of year, just check it out. It's a cool little festival. They have some local talent shows, arm wrestling, beer gardens, all your normal stuff. So that's our look at our little festive Harvest Homecoming there. But I'm going to pull back into the office for just a moment, pick up some stuff, and head back out on the road. If you notice, I'm not wearing my jacket, so before I head out on the expressway, I am going to grab that because I'm not going to do any more than 20 or 30 miles an hour without proper protection. So we'll hop in here real quick, I'll grab my gear, and we'll be back out on the expressway here in just a moment. All right, so I went by the office, grabbed my leather jacket. This is the Z1R leather jacket. It's one of the few just solid leather jackets that actually has some decent ventilation in it. And these things are super duper cheap. I don't know what they're retailing for on the site right now, but I can tell you that of all of my leather jackets, other than one perforated old school pilot jacket that's probably not real safe to ride in, it's probably my favorite. But we're going to be out on the interstate in just a little bit. To me, Chieftain is kind of a balance in between cruising around town and also hitting the highway. Now, if you were going to really do some cross-country touring, you might want to go full-on Roadmaster just because of the extra luggage. But this one could easily do it. If I was going to do my saddle sore and I could take a new bike on it, it would probably be this bad boy right here. But I don't think they're going to let me take a brand new bike off the showroom floor and put 1,500 miles on it in 24 hours. So anyway, we're going to hop down the expressway real quick. Just take a little cruisy cruise on the Chieftain, see how it does in traffic. My God, this thing sounds good. I love the way V-twin sounds, especially this one with those Freedom pipes on there. This thing just gets down. It's not obnoxious loud either. It actually just sounds good. Sounds like some of the old big V-twin Ducatis and stuff with the semi-muffled plap, plap, plap noise. It's not the potato, because I think that one's already been spoken for. But out on the expressway, all right, I'm going to go ahead and set the cruise here real quick. And there you go. That's how smooth this bike is. I could ride the rest of the way back to the shop as long as I didn't have to change you know, my speed too much. I could literally just cruise along for hours and hours. Vibration on these is, I would say, minimal to non-existent for a V-twin. That's insane. I have yet to feel anything through the handlebars of an Indian. No matter, you know, how much you get on it, there's just not that same vibration. I guess the frame has different harmonics to it or something. But I can tell you that it's really hard to stay off of the throttle. I'm probably not real good on the gas mileage with these pipes on here. But for a big bike, this thing will haul balls. It's so fast. I mean, you know, it's not a sport bike, but compared to the other cruisers I've ridden, and this one doesn't even have the cams on it. I rode a Springfield yesterday that had cams on it. Same 111 Thunderstroke V-twin, big giant. I mean, just a behemoth of a motor. And then they put cams in it. It had a set of exhausts on it, and that thing, switching to second gear, it would just fry the rear tire off of it. Now, The first time I did it, it was completely on accident. The second time I did it, maybe I did it on purpose, I don't know. But thank you, Indian, for not kicking me off of the bike yesterday. As you can see there, get a little wind buffeting above 70 miles an hour. So all you got to do is roll the windows up. That's right. It's got a little electric button down here on the side. Just click on that bad boy and it's going to raise you up. Might have looked like I was going down the elevator there in the other GoPro, but this Chieftain out on the highway, you know, for shorter stints, I would say anything up to 3 or 4 hours, I would probably pick this over the Roadmaster, just because I like the looks of that bagger where it doesn't have anything in the back. And since this one has the solid bags, it's got the large buttons behind it, you can actually get a quick release accessory passenger backrest for these. So if you were going to haul a passenger, you could throw them on the back there. They'd still have something to lean up against. You can also get the accessory speaker covers for the saddlebags. So if you want to add some tunes back there on the back, you can do that as well. The stereo in this one, it's one of the few that you can actually hear going down the road. They have one with an amplifier and all that good stuff on there, but this one is just the stock radio. Now we keep running into copyright infringements, but I'll go ahead and turn this on for just a second. That's just you know, some kind of TV radio commercial there. But we'll mute that. That's actually our local legend, old Tony Melito, the dealer for the people. Give him a plug real quick. That dude's insane. Does some of the funniest car commercials I've ever seen though. But anyway, back to the Chieftain here. As you can see, it's got the classic styling. It has all the modern amenities, however you say that word. Say it 15 different ways if I have to. But it definitely has all of the features, all of the little bells and whistles that you're going to want out of a nice over-the-road cruiser, with some of the best handling in the tour bike market. If you've only ridden Harleys, I'll say it again, you know, this thing will out-handle and outstop a Victory any day of the week. It's got more power than a Harley, and I feel that it handles much, much better and is much smoother. Now, at the end of the day, it's not a Harley Davidson. And the Indians, you know, a lot of the people, the styling is kind of a like it or love it type of deal. But I feel like they nailed the nostalgia points on these, and the stuff that is distinctly Indian is exactly what it should be. And they got the war bonnets on this particular model in the flat matte white paint. So those war bonnets, to me, they belong on the gas tank of an Indian. It's not an Indian without those. But a lot of the newer models, they do have that. Indian has a nice font to it. They've got that nice chrome logo going across the gas tank where it does say Indian. But to me, if you're going to ride one, have the war bonnet on the side. It just looks so much cooler. And the matte paints that they come in, definitely my favorite. I wasn't sure how I'd feel about the matte white until I saw it in person. I'm like, God, I love this bike. I think white bikes look nice and clean anyway, but this one, it looks even better in the matte white. We've got a gloss white version as well in the standard Chief, but this Chieftain in the matte, ooh, in person, I wish you could just see it. It doesn't matter whether it's sun or you know, underneath a street light at night. At bike night last night, people were just oohing and awing over the paint just because it looks so much different. You don't see that many matte white bikes out on the market, so it's nice and just downplayed quite a bit. All right, everybody, that's gonna wrap up our ride for today. We did a little interstate, little bit of city, got to see and hear just a little bit on our Indian Chieftain. Again, well, we'll wait for this Dodge to drive off the road, but we're gonna head back to the shop and drop this one off. I want to say thank you to our friends over at CC Power Sports. Do a quick rundown, and let's see, it's 95 degrees out today, so it's a little bit warm, but I got my Z1R leather jacket on, and I left my Field Shear high temp mesh jacket at home today like an absolute idiot because I was testing out some other stuff. But if I would have had my Field Shear high temp mesh jacket on, see all this sweat up here? Yeah, that wouldn't have been there. I would have been just absolutely comfortable. Oh, there it is, another absolutely for you. But if since I did have my Z1R jacket at the office, I popped it on, and honestly, it's not too bad. If you're rolling down the road, especially out on the highway, it's got some unzippable pit vents there, and that air dumps out the back, and it doesn't work too bad. And for the budget friendliness of this Z1R leather jacket, it looks super classy and functions really well. Plus, it's got some reflective material on the back. My gloves for today, these are my go-to. If it's over 70 degrees, you're probably going to see me in these. These are the Field Shear high temp mesh gloves. These things are the only gloves I've had that I feel like would protect me in an accident, but also let my hands breathe enough to where when I stop, I'm not covered in sweat. My hands are not sweating at all. They've got slight perforations in the palm, and they've got some mesh all over them. These things function great. Now, I'm telling you this because we have these. We bought a bunch of them on closeout. I don't know how long this video is going to be on YouTube, but if you're watching this thing and you're looking for some gloves that are, I mean, just an absolutely great glove, regardless of what they cost, and you want something for warm weather, whether you're on a sport bike, cruiser, it doesn't matter. I love these gloves, and I've got about 30 pairs, and if you watch any video going back all summer long, you're probably going to see me in my Field Shear gear. There's very few gear sets out there. You know, Olympia makes decent stuff, First Gear makes decent stuff, but the Field Shear stuff, they closed out a bunch of it, and its quality is a little bit better than everything else that was in its price range to begin with. It was in the middle price range, and these gloves, they were a little bit pricey when they first came out, but you can get them so stinking cheap right now. So if you're looking for a set of mesh gloves, we've got these in all leather as well, but they're a little bit too warm for me, and we've got some all kinds of other gloves from them, plus a ton of different jackets. Hop on the website. Those closeouts, we're going to be blowing them out this winter, and they're going to go really, really fast. We're actually getting ready to start throwing that stuff around on the website, and if you have subscribed to our emails, you're going to see it there. But if you're a rider and you want stuff that works and you don't want to pay a ton of money, right now's the time to get it. So once that stuff's gone, it's not coming back. We got a killer deal on it, and I'm talking 70% off on most of this stuff. So, like, not to sound like a commercial, but you guys are nice enough to watch the videos that I make, let me talk about these bikes, and let me get out here and enjoy riding. So anytime there's something that you might miss out on, you know, it's just kind of in the sublines there, I don't want you guys to miss out on that. And if you have a chance to get good quality gear for a cheap price, you know, if there's a great deal on eBay, I work at a bike shop, but I also buy a lot of gear myself. You know, if I get a great deal on something I really want, I'm gonna go for the best deal possible. So just want to let you guys know about those so you don't miss out on that stuff. But that's going to wrap us up for today. I'm done jaw jacking. This one was a little bit impromptu because we had this bike out for some photos, but I just wanted to ride it around town, honestly. They didn't give me a mileage limit on this one, so after I took it to bike night, I'm like, heck, we'll throw the cameras on there and go for a ride on this one. But again, I know we're getting a couple cruisers in a row here, but this one's different. The 2016s are kill from Indian. The Chieftain, it's definitely my pick of the litter just because it's got that bagger look on it, and the flat white, yeah, if I was going to park one at home, even over the Dark Horse, I'd be getting this flat white Bad Mama Jamma because it looks so nice. But that's going to wrap us up for today, everybody. You know where to subscribe down in the lower right hand corner there. That way you don't miss out on all of our weekly rides and all the cool stuff we do videos on back at the shop at Competition Accessories. We're pulling back into CC Power Sports. I'm going to wipe the bugs off of the front of this thing, and until next time, my name's John. Thanks for